No one remembers the day the Earth almost died, because none of us were there to see it. But the evidence is still written in the sky. Look at the moon, that calm, silver face we see every night. It's not just a companion. It's a scar, a wound from a time when the Earth was torn apart and reborn. Billions of years ago, this planet wasn't blue. It was hell, a molten ocean of rock and metal, a young world, still forming, still unstable, circling the newborn sun. And then, something came for it. A planet, the size of Mars. Scientists call it Theia. It drifted closer, pulled by gravity's invisible hand, a slow, unstoppable dance between two worlds destined to collide. For millions of years, the tension built, until finally, the silence broke. It wasn't an impact, it was annihilation. The explosion was beyond imagination. Mountains melted, the sky turned to fire, rivers of molten rock stretched into space. Pieces of both worlds flew outward, glowing red, forming a ring of liquid flame around the shattered Earth. For a moment, our planet had no surface, no oceans, no sky, only chaos. But from that chaos came creation. Dust became stone, stone became orbits, and from the ashes of two broken worlds, a new one took shape. The moon was born, silent, glowing, perfect. Yet, here's the mystery that refuses to die. If the moon was forged in a furnace of cosmic fire, if it was born from temperatures that should have destroyed everything fragile, how could water survive? Every equation says it couldn't. Every law of physics says it shouldn't. And yet, both Earth and Moon hold traces of it, hidden deep inside their stones, locked within their ancient minerals. What if that water didn't come later? What if it's been there all along, since the moment fire met fire? Scientists call it the giant impact hypothesis. But that phrase doesn't capture the truth. This wasn't just an impact, it was rebirth. Theia didn't destroy Earth, it became part of it. Its remnants fused into our core. The rest drifted above, cooling in the dark, forming the moon. And every tide that rises, every eclipse that darkens our sky, is a whisper from that day, when destruction became creation. The moon isn't just our reflection, it's the other half of who we are, a silent witness to our origin. And perhaps, within its ancient dust, lies the first memory of water, the memory of life itself. Billions of years later, humanity is listening again, and what we're about to hear may change everything. The Earth healed, but the moon never did. Every night we look at it, glowing quietly in the sky, and we call it beautiful. But beauty hides truth, and the truth is, the moon is a graveyard, a place frozen in time, untouched, unchanged. For over 4 billion years, nothing has moved there except dust. Every crater you see is a scar, a memory of the chaos that built the solar system. Asteroids, comets, fragments of forgotten worlds, they all left their marks. And unlike Earth, the moon never erased them. Because Earth has weather, oceans, and life, forces that heal and reshape. The moon has none of that. No wind, no rain, no mercy. It kept everything, every impact, every scar, every secret. The moon is a time capsule of the early universe, a silent witness that never forgot what the beginning looked like. That's why scientists call it the perfect archive. It remembers everything Earth has forgotten. Our planet hides its wounds. The moon displays them proudly. And buried beneath that gray dust are the answers to questions older than life itself. How did planets form? Where did water come from? And why did the far side, the half we never see, turn out so different from the one that faces us? For centuries we couldn't know. The far side was invisible, forever turned away, locked by gravity's grip. We could only imagine what it looked like. Then came the probes, the photographs, and finally, China's Chang'e missions. They landed where no human has ever stood, They touched the untouchable. And from that silent surface, they began to collect the oldest memories of the moon, bits of rock that have waited billions of years to speak. What stories would they tell us? What secrets had the moon been keeping, hidden on the side we could never see? The moon never forgot. It just waited for us to ask the right questions. For centuries, the far side of the moon was invisible, forever hidden, locked away by gravity's perfect trap. No human had ever seen it directly. No telescope on Earth could reach it. It was the dark half of our closest neighbor, a mystery that refused to turn its face. The ancients called it the forbidden side. Science called it the far side. But for generations, it was simply the unknown. Then, in 2019, something changed. A machine, small, silent, wrapped in gold, descended through lunar darkness. Its name was Chang'e-6. It carried China's dream, a dream older than the rockets that launched it. A dream to touch what no one else had touched, to see what no one else had seen. For the first time in human history, a spacecraft landed safely on the far side of the moon, and from that moment, the silence of that ancient world was broken. But the story didn't end there, because China wasn't done listening. They wanted to bring a piece of that silence home. In 2024, another mission took flight, Chang'e-6. It didn't just land, it dug, it drilled, it collected. From the depths of the South Pole Aitken Basin, the largest, oldest impact crater in the solar system. A scar so deep, it may touch the moon's mantle itself. A place so ancient, it remembers the day the moon was born. While the rest of the world looked toward Mars, China looked backward, to the beginning, to the side that hides its secrets in shadow, to the rocks that might still carry traces of the first water. The operation was delicate. There was no direct communication. The moon's far side blocks all signals. So, a satellite named Queqiao-2 hovered beyond the horizon, relaying every whisper between Earth and the lander. It was a mission of patience, precision, silence, and then success. In the summer of 2025, a small capsule streaked through Earth's sky, glowing like a meteor. It landed gently in the deserts of Inner Mongolia. Inside it, dust and stone older than any life on Earth. Samples from the far side. Samples that had waited 4.5 billion years to return home. When scientists opened the container, they weren't just holding lunar soil. They were holding time itself. And hidden in that ancient dust was a clue, a faint chemical signature that shouldn't exist. Something that would rewrite what we thought we knew about both Earth and the moon. It was the faint whisper of water. Ancient water. Water older than oceans. The moon had finally spoken, and it was China who heard it first. The samples looked ordinary, gray dust, broken rocks, nothing that screamed life, but the truth was buried deeper, not in what we could see, but in what those stones remembered. Under the microscope, scientists noticed something strange, tiny patterns, invisible bonds, molecules that shouldn't be there, hydroxyl, chemical traces of water, not liquid water, not ice, but hydrogen and oxygen, locked together inside minerals, frozen in place for billions of years. The moon was supposed to be dry, dead, empty. But these rocks whispered a different story, a story of fire that somehow created water. Every fragment was a time capsule. Each grain of dust carried memories from when the moon was still molten, when magma oceans cooled and the impossible happened. The first molecules of water formed in the ashes of destruction. Scientists compared the data to Earth's volcanic rocks. The chemical fingerprints were almost identical. The same isotopes, the same ratios, the same origin. Could it be that Earth and the moon share not only rock and metal, but water, born from the same catastrophic event? What if the oceans that cradle life today and the molecules trapped in lunar stone were once part of the same storm, 4.5 billion years ago? It changes everything. Because it means water, the source of life, didn't come from distant comets or alien worlds. It was here, all along, born from chaos, hydroxyl, just a chemical trace, and yet a message, a reminder that even destruction leaves something behind. Those faint molecular scars prove that not all water was lost in the impact. Some of it survived, hidden inside minerals, waiting for us to find it. And the fact that China's Chang'e-6 found these traces on the far side, a place untouched since the moon's birth, means one thing: that water is ancient, older than life, older than Earth's first ocean. The moon has been holding it for billions of years, keeping it safe through fire and void, as if protecting the memory of how everything began. So maybe the story of water isn't about survival. Maybe it's about remembrance. Because somewhere, inside those silent stones, the moon still remembers the first drop. We were taught that fire destroys, that heat burns, melts, ends. But in space, rules are different. Sometimes destruction creates the very thing that life needs to begin. The collision that birthed the moon should have wiped everything clean, every trace of water gone. The temperatures were high enough to vaporize oceans, to turn rock into gas. Yet somehow, something survived. How? When Earth and Theia collided, hydrogen from one world met oxygen from another. Amid chaos and pressure, molecules formed, briefly, violently, only to be trapped again as the newborn moon cooled. It sounds impossible. But inside lunar minerals, scientists have found proof. Hydrogen atoms locked in crystal lattices, oxygen fused in silicate walls, each molecule frozen like a photograph of the very first chemistry of life. Fire didn't destroy water. Fire created it. That's the paradox of the universe. From destruction comes synthesis. From chaos, order. From death, creation. And when the moon cooled, those molecules stayed, locked away in the silence of rock, waiting. Billions of years later, instruments built by human hands found them again. The same signatures, the same fingerprints, identical to those found in Earth's volcanic basalts. The ratios matched, the isotopes aligned, the chemistry whispered one truth: Earth and moon share the same water fingerprint, the same origin. That means our oceans, our clouds, our rain, may all trace back to that single cataclysmic moment when fire met fire and water was born. It's a quiet irony. The very event that should have erased life's possibility may have written the first chapter of it. In every drop that falls, in every wave that moves, there's a molecular memory, a whisper of that cosmic beginning. So when you look at the moon, you're not just seeing stone. You're seeing the first spark of life's chemistry, the fire that made water and the water that made us. One side of the moon always faces us, bright, familiar, a silver mirror in the night. The other side never turns. It hides in eternal darkness, its face unseen for all of human history. Two sides, one moon, a perfect cosmic illusion. But the difference between them is more than light and shadow. It's deeper, older, written into the moon's very bones. The near side, the one we know, is covered in dark plains called Maria, ancient lava seas frozen in time. They tell a story of movement, of change, of volcanic fire long extinguished. The far side, however, is different, colder, rougher, older. It's covered with mountains and scars, untouched, unhealed, unyielding. Why? Why would one half of the same world live two completely different lives? Scientists believe it began with the collision, the same cataclysm that created the moon. When molten rock gathered around the Earth, one side cooled faster, while the other remained molten longer, trapped under the newborn Earth's heat. The result, a moon divided forever. One side rich in volcanic basalt, heavy, dark, full of trapped hydrogen. The other, lighter, dry, stripped of volatiles. Two hemispheres, two histories, one origin. It's almost poetic, as if the moon itself carries the memory of that ancient impact on its face. The light side, the calm after creation. The dark side, the scar that never healed. When China's Chang'e-6 returned samples from the far side, it wasn't just about science. It was about balance, completing the story. The near side told us what survived. The far side tells us what was lost. And in that silence, scientists found more than minerals. They found contrast, a record of imbalance, of how even a single world can be divided by destiny. Two faces, one moon, both remembering the same moment from two different sides of eternity. The Cold War ended, but the space race never did. It just changed its players and its prize. This time, they're not racing for flags, they're racing for water. Because on the moon, water means power, fuel, life, the key to every next step beyond Earth. Once, it was the United States versus the Soviet Union, a battle of ideology, technology, and pride. Now it's China and America, two superpowers staring at the same silent world, seeing not mystery, but opportunity. In Washington, it's called Artemis, a program to return humans to the moon for the first time in 50 years. In Beijing, it's Chang'e-7 and Chang'e-8, robotic missions to the South Pole, where frozen water may still lie hidden in the shadows. Both nations know, whoever controls that ice controls the future. Because water isn't just something to drink, it's hydrogen and oxygen, rocket fuel, energy, freedom from Earth's gravity. The moon is no longer just a rock in the sky, it's a refueling station for the stars. For NASA, the goal is cooperation. They call it the Artemis Accords, a promise to explore space together, peacefully, transparently. For China, it's independence, self-reliance, a lunar base built by machines first, humans later, no dependence on anyone else. Two visions, two philosophies, one destination. And while the West argues over politics, China moves quietly, mission after mission, step by step, building momentum that the world can no longer ignore. Each launch, each landing, each return capsule. A message: we're not behind anymore. The Chang'e missions are not just about science, they're about symbolism, a reminder that the next chapter of exploration may not be written in English. Still, NASA isn't giving up. Artemis grows bolder, SpaceX builds the rockets, private companies join the race. The United States wants to put humans back on the surface, to stay this time. Meanwhile, China plans to do the same, but with machines that can build, mine, and survive the long lunar night. It's no longer a question of if they'll meet on the moon. It's a question of when. Some say it's competition, others call it destiny. Because when humanity races for the moon again, it's not just about who gets there first. It's about who gets to define the future. The moon has become the new frontier, not of exploration, but of control. And in that silence, between two nations separated by ideology, but united by ambition, the question remains: who will claim the water? Who will claim the stars? Because in this new race, victory isn't about reaching the moon. It's about who stays there when the dust finally settles. In the end, it always comes back to water. Every mission, every discovery, every question we ask about life beyond Earth, it all flows back to that single element. Because water is not just chemistry, it's memory, connection, the bridge between worlds. On Earth, water gave birth to life. On the moon, it might preserve the memory of creation. When China and the United States race to claim it, they're not just fighting for territory. They're chasing meaning, the meaning of existence itself. Maybe we've been looking at this wrong all along. Maybe the moon isn't just a destination, but a reflection. A mirror showing us who we are when we reach too far, and what we've forgotten when we stop looking up. For centuries, Humanity has seen the moon as a symbol of time, love, fate, madness, hope. Every civilization found its own story in that pale light. But now, the story is changing. It's no longer myth. It's data. It's dust. It's proof. And yet, even in numbers, the moon still feels human. Because everything we find up there, every molecule, every rock, every silent memory, is a part of us. When Chang'e brought back ancient dust, and Artemis prepares to return humans to the surface, they're doing the same thing in two different languages. Listening. Listening to a world that's been waiting to speak for billions of years. It's easy to call it competition. But maybe it's something more. Maybe this is cooperation disguised as rivalry. Two species of the same world, united by the same instinct, to understand where we came from and what we might become. Because in the end, water doesn't belong to one nation. It belongs to time, to the story of creation. The same molecules that once formed in fire now connect earth and moon, past and future, science and myth, us and them. When we chase water, we're not chasing power. We're chasing our own reflection, in a drop that has traveled across billions of years just to find its way home. Every drop of water carries a memory, a record of where it's been, a whisper of what it once was. And if that's true, then the moon remembers everything. It remembers the fire, the collision, the birth of two worlds out of one. It remembers the silence that followed, the cooling stones, the first molecules forming in the dark, the quiet heartbeat of a newborn world. It has watched Earth heal, watched oceans rise, watched continents drift, and creatures crawl from the sea to the land, and then look up, toward the light that never left. For billions of years, it has kept its distance, circling, observing, reflecting everything we've become. We call it the moon, but maybe that's too simple. It's our twin, our mirror, our memory. It is what remains when everything else changes. The last witness of our beginning. Now, as we return to it, with rockets, robots, and questions, we are not conquering it. We are remembering. Remembering where we came from. Remembering that life began not in peace, but in fire. That water, the essence of life, was born from chaos. And maybe the moon has been waiting all this time for us to finally understand that. To realize that creation was never gentle. That destruction and birth are the same act, seen from different sides of eternity. The moon is the echo of that act. It holds the rhythm of creation, frozen in stone, waiting for the universe to listen again. One day, when we stand on its surface once more and see Earth rise over the horizon, blue, alive, fragile, we'll understand. We are not separate worlds. We are one story, one creation, one memory carried across time and dust and silence. The moon remembers. It always has. And now, so do we.